happening right now at the nation's highest court. Arguments on the fate of TikTok in the U.S. The outcome here possibly set to impact 170 million Americans who use the TikTok app regularly. Today's arguments come months after the law passed Congress and hit President Biden's desk. In it, the requirement that the platform cut ties with its China-based parent company, ByteDance, or risk losing access to app stores and web servers across the country. That goes into effect in 9 days. So we're getting an inside listen into the Supreme Court arguments. Let's take a listen to that.
What happens after January 19th if you lose this case? Can you just spell that out?
At least as I understand it, we go dark. Essentially, the platform shuts down.
Unless there's a divestiture.
Unless there's a divestiture, unless President Trump exercises his authority to extend it by night. But he can't do that on January 19th. On January 19th, we still have President Biden. And on January 19th, as I understand it, we shut down.
And with that, let's go to CBS News Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady. Kelly, thanks so much for being with us. They go dark on January 9th unless they divest. You just heard it there. How's this all really going to play out?
Yeah, so good to be with you, Liz. Basically, what this means by going dark is that TikTok would be removed from the App Store. So if you went on your phone and you said, hey, I want to download TikTok on, January 20th or 21st, you wouldn't actually be able to do that. If you had already downloaded TikTok, you would still have access to the app unless TikTok decided, well, we're done with all of this. You didn't, delay things. We're going to turn the water off. But in theory, you would still have access to the app. It's just that there would be no new product features, and eventually people would probably flock to other apps. Now, the whole point is they'd like to get a delay or for the Supreme Court to rule against this law because President-elect Trump, as you mentioned in the intro, is open to finding another way. But at this point, come January 19th, you will not be able to download TikTok if you have not already done that.
Let's talk for a moment about that divestment. A few names placing their bids in, including billionaire Frank McCourt and Shark Tank's Kevin O'Leary. What's the likelihood of this sale even going through? Is a sale even possible?
So it's very unlikely at this point because ByteDance has been very clear that they do not want to sell TikTok. They will not do that. And so, in fact, actually, I've been following the arguments. The U.S. Solicitor General just made the comments that they think TikTok and ByteDance have been saying this because they want to delay things until President-elect comes into office. And if they were to uphold this date, it could actually put pressure on ByteDance to say, okay, well, maybe we would actually consider an acquisition of the app. Now, here's the thing, Liz. I worked in mergers and acquisitions previously. I was looking at sort of the parameters of the deal. No financial details have been released, what the bid would cost, but likely it would be billions and billions of dollars. They wouldn't even be buying the algorithm, and this would only be for the U.S. version of TikTok. So there would still be TikToks that are operating in other countries that are owned by ByteDance. So from a business perspective, this would not be a good deal. But of course, there are political reasons to buy it as well.
And speaking of business on the app, Kelly, what about the influencers? I mean, they build careers on this app and use it to pay their bills. Many are bracing for not having this as the main source of income to survive off of. How is this actually going to impact their financial situations?
It would be really tough. And there's also a lot of small businesses that use TikTok as a platform very successfully to market their business. That's been a big feature that really TikTok has won out over some of these other platforms. Now, of course, the creators, these businesses, they could operate on Instagram Reels, on Snap, and many of them do. But TikTok, you could have a following of millions on TikTok and maybe have a following of only thousands on Instagram. And in fact, there are, at this very moment, influencers outside the Supreme Court right now gathered, protesting. Some of the influencers even filed briefs with the Supreme Court, and they have a representative who is making arguments on their behalf right now. So yes, this would be very tough for people who rely on this for their well-being.
All right, CBS News Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady. Thank you so much, Kelly.